Listen, whatever you want. Just all you sung that song. God's got it. Whatever you need, God's got it. Whatever you ask, just believe it. According to your faith, you shall receive it. Eyes have not seen, ears have not heard the good things my God has in store. Isn't God a faithful God? Well, Brother Thompson, you preach, but they still don't have to pay me today. So I'll give you the space, but I'll take you to McDonald's or something. The testimony is so powerful, and we're so elated and happy about what the Lord is doing in your life. And not just in your life, but in your family's life. We're so thankful. Anybody don't mind worshiping for just a few seconds? Do you mind? You want me to go and preach or go on to the house, or what y'all want to do? Y'all don't mind about 30 more seconds, do you? B flat? B flat? If I could say one word, I'll just wave my hand. It's all right. If I could say one word, I'll wave my hand. You've been good. When danger was around me, if I could say one word, oh, I'll just wave my hand. If I could say what you did when you went to Calvary. He shed, anybody know, he shed blood. Thank God he shed it just for me. I'm standing right here, standing on your word. I know your word will forever stand. If I could say one word, Anybody know he will? Anybody know he will? Anybody know he will? He don't need a key to your house to get in to come see about it. He'll need you to invite him to ride in your car to come see about it. He can read the way down, yes he can, and he can fix whatever is going wrong in your life. You don't have to have a long, drawn out prayer. All you have to do is just wave your hand. Just say, Lord, have mercy, please. Say, I need you, Jesus. Can't live without you. Everybody, when you sing that, you're still praying. You're still talking to him. The reason I serve him, is because he knows what's going on in my life. He already knows. He already knows. He already knows. He already knows. You can't hide. You can't run. You can't get away from him. Oh, you gotta do it. If I could say, change strange, just wave your hand. Your marriage about to fall apart, just wave your hand. You don't know what to do, just wave your hand. I declare the Lord will, the Lord will, I know he will, I know he will. But man, say, I know he will. Say, I know the man and I know he will. Anybody know him? Anybody tried? Anybody know he's all right? He's all right. Yes, he is. sometime. I wouldn't serve a God that couldn't feel sometimes. He got big feet, he can come see about. He got long arms, he can reach all the way around the world. He's so tall you can't get over him. He's so wide you can't get around him. Yeah, yeah. Luke 5th chapter, beginning at the first verse. Lord have mercy. Luke the 5th chapter, beginning at the first verse. Now it happened that while the crowd was pressing around him, man, I'm so happy I'm trying my best. Y'all do this to me every week, and y'all expect me to calm down and preach y'all a sermon. Which y'all making y'all have to make y'all get up here and preach a sermon, see how y'all do. All right. We're going to start with the sermon during devotion, and y'all do the rest after. That way I can get my sermon out. Good. Now it happened that while the crowd was pressing around him and listening to the word of God, he was standing by the lake of Gennesaret, and he saw two boats lying at the edge of the lake. But the fishermen had gotten out of them and were washing their nets. That means they were done working. And he got into one of those boats, which was Simon Peter's, and asked him to push it out a little ways from land. And he sat down and began teaching the people from that boat. When he had finished speaking, he said to Simon Peter, I need you to go out into deep water. Let down your nets for a catch. Simon answered and said, Master, we worked hard. I want you to pay attention to the wording. Not just worked. We worked hard all night and caught nothing. But I will do as you say and let down the nets. They had done this. They enclosed a great quantity of fish, and their nets began to break. So much so that they had to signal to their partners in the other boats for them to come help me. And they came and filled both of those boats, so much so that the boats began to sink. But when Simon Peter saw that, he fell down at Jesus' feet saying, get on away from here now. I'm a sinful man. For amazement had seized him and all his companions because of the fish, the catch of fish which they had taken. And so also were James and John, sons of Zebedee, who were partners with Simon. And Jesus said, Simon, do not fear. You've been fishing for fish. But from now on, you're going to catch men. When they got home, they left everything and followed him. I want to talk just for a moment from the subject. What happens when I see myself? What happens when I see myself? I want y'all to stick with me just 10, 15 minutes. Can you do that? I want you to stick with me. Is that all right? I talked to you last week, so I don't have to go back through this, and I would not insult your intelligence by telling you again that Jesus can use any place he chooses for his pulpit. Kevin, it's good to see you, man. I would not insult your intelligence by telling you that Jesus preaches anywhere. And he preaches anywhere because people will listen anywhere. I think you ought to try it sometime. Learn to talk about Jesus everywhere, and you'll find out that people you never knew would listen. The reason we claim they won't listen is because we never try. But if you try to talk about Jesus, even if they don't accept him, they'll at least listen to you. Jesus was preaching in the boat, and when he was preaching in the boat, he literally, and I think it's worth noting, that he used Simon Peter's boat. I cannot talk to you the way that I want to talk to you about it, though. The Bible suggests that they were washing their nets, so there's some things that I've got to get off my chest, and not because I want to, but just because it's in the text. The text suggests that they washed their nets, Deacon White. When they washed their nets, Jesus used Peter's boat to preach, which suggests that he had already worked all night, but he still showed up to church. I just want to talk to a few of y'all and let you know that what you do in the world as far as your vocation should never take from your relationship with Christ. Now I hear some of you, Pastor, I work during service and I do this and I do that. I get that, but as often as you can, you ought to find yourself in the presence of the Lord, even outside of with what you do. No, that's not going to go too well. So the Bible suggests that Jesus is literally preaching, and as he's preaching, the Bible says that he gets through. When he gets through, we come into verse 4. When he gets through preaching, he looks at Simon Peter. He says to Simon Peter, Brother Jones, he said, now what I want you to do, take this boat, push out to deep water, let your net down, and when you let your net down, there's going to be a great catch. Y'all see this? In other words, you have allowed me to use your boat. You sat in worship and been attentive. And here's the thing. Anytime you spend time with God, he will give you something in return for the time you spent with him. He may just give you wisdom. He may just give you knowledge. He may give you health, good strength. But whatever he gives you, you ought to always come to worship. You ought to always be in tune with him, because when you give him a little bit of your time, you'll never leave empty-handed. I'm preaching to y'all and I want y'all to get it. You will never leave the presence of God empty. You'll go empty, but you'll never come back empty. So the Bible suggests that he tells him, I want you to push out. But when you push out, he says, I want you to let your net down. When you let your net down, there's going to be a great catch. Peter says, nah. All right. In the Greek, E-P-I-S-T-A-T-A, epistata. He suggests, teacher, Lord, one who has authority over me. In other words, he said, I ain't trying to be disrespectful. I don't want to rub you the wrong way. But we worked, listen now, hard all night. Do y'all see that? Jesus just told him, I want you to push out, let your net down. Y'all stay awake. Walk with me. Got 10 more minutes, 15 more minutes, and I promise you I'm done. Well, push your boat out, let your net down. When you let your net down, there's going to be a great catch. Teacher, master, ruler, leader, commander, we work hard all night. We've already done what you're telling us to do now, and we got nothing out of it. But nevertheless, watch that text now. Nevertheless, at your word, I will let down the net. Now, let's look at Peter's life, because in order to look at our life, you first have to see him, and you got to see yourself through the text. So Peter could have came up with all kinds of excuses. Could have said, I worked all night and I'm tired. I ain't doing that no more. Y'all don't hear that in your own life. Okay. Could have said, well, Jesus, now, by trade, you're a carpenter. And carpenters don't know much about fishing. Y'all don't think he could have said that? He could have said, now, I know fishing, and the best time to fish is at night. During the day, especially with these boats and you talking and these people around, fish ain't gonna show up. Huh? Y'all want to talk a little bit more? Yeah, do y'all want to talk a little bit more? We've already washed our nets, and it takes a lot to clean nets off after you've been fishing because all the debris and the dirt and the gunk, it takes hours to clean the nets off. And you're asking me after I worked all night to clean the net and clean the net to go back and get it dirty again. Jesus, you know about preaching, but you don't know nothing about fishing. Y'all don't think none of us would have said none of that. But instead of him making excuses, he said, nevertheless, at your word, here we go back, Sunday school going, at your word I will let down the net. Peter had heard about the word. He had heard that the word of God created light, and light, man, we had time in Bible study, our Sunday school this morning. We talked about how the Lord spoke light into existence, and no matter how you turn off the lights in this building, no matter how you draw curtains on each one of these windows, God's word will still come through the curtains. It'll still show up. If you walk outside right now, there is absolutely nothing you can do about it being light, because God said, let there be. And when he said, let there be, it's not just then and now, but it's forever. And we can never reverse what he said. Y'all remember when we were talking about Sunday school? Can I go a little further? Because they got to tell them, because they wasn't in Sunday school. Not only that, but he divided the firmament of the water by the firmament of the earth. Do you know from that moment to this, there's never been any more land? Because when he speaks, his word fixes it. And it cannot be changed. So Peter says, I got to go back to the text. Peter said, and your word brought the earth together. Your word held creation together. And your word, I'll let down the net. Can I tell you why? Can I tell you why? I'm sure I want to tell you, but I'm not sure you want to hear. Can I tell you why? Because Peter knew that if he spoke to him, he had to do what he had to do, but he also knew if he spoke to him, he was also going to speak to the fish and say, wherever they drop the net, fish, you show up right where the net is. Can I tell you why I serve the God I serve? Because not only will he tell me, Pat, to show up at a certain place, but he'll tell that place to be ready for me to show up. Y'all got to talk to me. Not only will he send me somewhere, Tam, but when he sends me, wherever he sends me, it's already worked out in my favor. If he said drop the net, he already talked to whoever I'm dropping the net to. It says, when they were done, verse 6, y'all see this? They enclosed a great quantity of fish, and their nets, y'all see this, began to break. Now there's a bad thing, says Mitchell, when your net got snagged on something and broke, that was bad. But they didn't mind, watch this text, y'all, they did not mind the nets breaking with fish, because Sister Woods, when they broke with fish, if they caught enough fish to break the net, they could buy more nets. Y'all got to talk to me though. Here's the thing, see, if the net broke because of carelessness, they were out of money. But if the net broke because of the fish, they had enough money, Sister Willard, to buy as many nets as they needed to buy. They didn't mind the nets breaking. Caught so many fish that the net started breaking. And here it is, verse 7, and I'm going to talk to you right here, Pleasant Grove, and then I'm going to leave you. Here it is. So many that they had, says Craig Texas now, to call others to help them to bring in what it is that they had to bring in. Because you will never accomplish anything by yourself. And God does not bless one boat without taking the other boat into consideration. Can I talk to you? If you think your house is the only house on the street that's supposed to be blessed, the devil is a lie. If the Lord bless your house, then you're supposed to try your best to be a blessing to whoever it is the Lord puts on your heart. He did not give you what he gave you to keep to yourself, but he gave you what he gave you so that you can be a blessing to something. I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about wisdom and time and effort and energy and prayer and verse 8. Come on, say y'all. But when Simon Peter saw it, listen now. When Simon Peter saw that, he fell down at his feet. He said, I need you to leave. Y'all see that? I need you to leave because I am a sinful man. Nick, I've read this text probably at least 75, 80 times since I started preaching. I read this text, studied this text. The Lord literally lifted it out of the Bible and showed it to me. Hopefully I can show it to you. Peter's always running his mouth, always talking ahead of himself, always quick to say something. That's Peter. Cut man's ear off. Lord, I'll never deny you. Then starts cussing, telling folks, I don't know that man. That's Peter. But the reason Peter was so providential to the Lord is because of moments like this. Peter says in the beginning of his ministry, in the beginning of Jesus' ministry, he had just healed Peter's mother in chapter 4, verse 36, 37. He comes back and he said, I need you to leave, Jesus, because I am sinful. In other words, because you're so powerful, and because I've seen how great you are, your greatness showed me how nasty I am. Anytime you meet the Lord, we don't just talk about how good he is, but it also ought to show how wretched, nasty, and filthy we are. In other words, Peter said, on a good day, I ain't never caught that many fish. On a great day, I ain't never caught that many fish. On a day that I could not believe, I ain't never caught that many fish. When he said that, I'm not worthy to catch that many fish. Y'all don't hear what I'm saying. And Brother Thompson, this is why I got happy when you were talking, because the truth of the matter is the Lord could have allowed your brothers to die, and he still would have been a good God. The Lord could allow Brother Mays to die, still would have been a good God. The Lord could allow you, Mother Imogene God, to die on the operating table, still would have been a good God, but he spared your life. And it does not make him a better God. It shows us that we don't deserve his grace and his mercy. I know some of us are sitting here now and we feel like we've arrived, we got it together. Your kitchen is looking real silky in the back of your head and all of your tracks are straight and everything's lined up and you're not musty, you smell good, got your Donna Karan perfume on, got your Gucci shoes on, red bottoms on, got your Gucci purse, got your Prada purse. I know you think you got it together. We got our suits on to get today. We got all of our Maslin shoes on, our Dolce & Gabbana stuff, but I want you to know that no matter how good you look and no matter what you have in your bank account, no matter where you live, no matter where you work, no matter what you drive, I'm going to serve you an identification right now that you are filthy, I am filthy, we are filthy, and God did not have to grace us with anything. And the things that we worry about, I want to let you know something. Compared to what should have happened in our life, we ought to lift our hand and tell God, thank you, sir. Because it's not nearly as bad as it should be because we're filthy. Peter said, Lord, lead me. Please lead me because I'm a sinner. And this miracle you perform for me is greater than who I am. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? That's why I get overcome with emotion sometimes in church, and that's why when I'm at home sometimes my eyes fill with tears when I look at my children and I look at my family, when I look at the things that the Lord has afforded me to have. Before I get jealous of somebody else, the first thing I do is I look and I say, Lord, I shouldn't have this, so ain't no sense. And me looking at Vicky Ball wondering why she got that. I should not have what I do have, so why in the world, if I shouldn't have what I have, when I look at somebody else and be jealous of what they do, I shouldn't have what I have. through the years, who brought you up through the hills and down through the valleys, who brought you around every corner, every curve. There were times you couldn't get your nails done. There were times you couldn't get your hair done. There were times you didn't have gas to put in your car. There was times you didn't have Sunday school offering, and that's just $1. There were times you didn't have another outfit to wear to church. But look at you now. God has brought you all the way. He said, I'm a fisherman and I can't catch this many fish. I've been in college and I can't learn all this. Can I talk to you? You worked as many years as you worked. You know doggone well that as long as you work, you shouldn't have the money you have saved up and stuff, pushed up with all the problems that you had to fix and all the bills you had to pay and all the issues that broke out in your life, and God still afford you to pay bills that you know that you could not pay and have your house and have your car. Some of us got more than one car, more than one place to live. God been good. It's not about the material. It's the fact that He affords you the opportunity to live here and live like you're living in heaven while you're on earth. Because there's some people that live in hell every day. Says, I don't deserve it. Says, I tell you what, just go. Please go. I'm sinful. Go, go. Go, go. In other words, he says, nobody could have done this but the Lord. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Peter recognizes and he says nobody could have done this but the Lord. So the Lord says to him, Simon, Peter, don't fear. Don't fear. Don't fear. And here's where I exit now. He says, don't fear. From now on, you're done with fear. All right, man. Yeah. You're done with fear. From now on, you're going to catch men. It says, hold on. I want to talk to you for a second. You've been catching fish all your life. But from now on, you're not catching fish no more. I want y'all to look at this text because it's not that I'm such a great preacher, it's that the Lord shows me this text the way it ought to be shown, because if you've ever heard it before, you probably heard that it had a great amount of fish, and then that was the last scripture, because many of us up here are afraid to preach this part because we don't understand this part. And a lot of times when you're reading a text, the Lord has to give you it so that you can study it and understand. But here it is. He says, you're not going to catch fish no more. But how's he going to take care of his family? How's he going to provide for his family? How's he going to pay for this bill and pay for that bill? How's he going to take care of this if he's not catching fish and he's catching men? Well, you do remember that there were two boats and the boats were about to sink. And when the Bible suggested the boats were about to sink, they had to get other people to help them. And then when you see that they had to get other people to help them, you have to understand that he gave them enough catch in the physical to pay off what they needed so that they could do his work and not be concerned with the things of man. Here's the thing. If you trust God and give it all to him, he'll supply all. I'm happy now. Y'all don't hear me? That's why you only make 40, but you're living like you're making 100, because he will supply all of your needs. Do you hear what I'm saying? He said, you're not going to catch fish. I'm taking care of the fish problem. Now you're going to catch. You're going to catch me. Y'all see this? How you going to teach me how to catch me? Well, anybody that can catch fish that good, surely they know how to catch me. Verse 11, and I promise you I'm out of here. When they had brought their boats to land. Y'all see this? I gotta leave you now. They left. Y'all see this? Everything they had and followed him. What happens when I see myself nasty I am. But after I admit how nasty I am, then I realize that there's nothing that I have that the Lord hadn't given to me. But can I give you some wisdom here? Don't we all say that there's nothing that we have that the Lord hadn't given to us? Don't we all make that claim, saying that everything I have, the Lord gave it to me? Isn't that what we say, y'all? Well, let me flip it around. If everything you have, the Lord really gave it to you, then why are we scared to walk away from what the Lord gave us? If He gave it to us, then He able to keep us in spite of what it is that He gave us. Y'all don't want to talk to me now. If the Lord gave me my job and my house and my car and my family, then why are we so scared when we lose our job? Why are we so scared if the Lord gave you the friends you have? Why are you scared when you lose the friend the Lord gave you? If it be the Lord that gave you everything you had, then the only thing that's important, y'all listen to me now, the only thing that's important is the Lord. Let me say it one more time. If He gave me my house, did He give you your house? If He gave me my car, did He give you your car? If He gave me my wife or my husband, did He give you your spouse? If He gave me my children, did He give you your children? If He gave me my job, did He give you your job? Then you understand the only thing that stays the same is the Lord. Is there anybody here that realize if I lose everything that I have, as long as I don't lose Him, I'm going to be all right. I'm leaving you now. But when I see myself, not only do I see myself as nasty and dirty, but I see myself as a servant of the Most High God. And in other words, everything that I do and everywhere that I go, it's about Jesus. And I'm leaving you, Pleasant Grove. Can you shake your neighbor's hand and say, neighbor, that's why I don't miss church. That's why I serve Him all week long. Because every time I serve the Lord, He blesses me. And when He blesses me, I recognize that I didn't deserve all of His blessings and His grace and His mercy. If there anybody here should have been dead in a car accident or a surgery gone wrong or a house fire or something that happened at your job, but look at you now. When you think about what the Lord has done in your life, the first thing that ought to come to mind is I don't deserve how good you've been. Is there anybody here that knows the Lord been good to you? Well, you ought to stand on your feet and give God some praise, because if He had not rescued you, if He had not saved you, where would you be? I'm leaving now, but look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, you don't know what the Lord has done for me. He brought me over the hills. He brought me through the valleys. He brought me. And before I leave you, if you think that He's done something now, just keep on trusting in Him. You ain't seen what the Lord is able to do in your life. The last time was a big deal. done for you becomes overwhelming. Because you realize that he doesn't owe you anything. Y'all know that, don't we? We complain about stuff that he doesn't owe us anyway. God doesn't owe us but because of his grace and because of his mercy, he gives it to us. Stop taking moments for granted and understand, like Peter said, Lord, I'm a sinful. All that you just did, it's more than I don't deserve that. Lord said, don't fear. It's your last day fishing. I'm taking care of all your provision. You don't have to worry about the cable bill no more, the internet bill. You don't have to worry about the house note. You don't have to worry about the car note. You don't have to worry about the children. I'm taking care of all that. Now I want you to focus on being who I called you. When you see yourself, you realize this is crazy. That you've been so focused on making an hourly range that you haven't spent any time working for the Father. You do know, no matter what job you have on earth, it doesn't give you a right to heaven. So then what is it on earth that we can do to find a place in eternity with him? Only thing we can do is be obedient to him and love him. But if we're being obedient to him, then we ought to be fishers of men, in addition to whatever else you fishing for. I said it in the beginning, I'll say it now. It's not that people won't listen, it's that we won't open our mouths and talk about him. And when we open our mouths to talk about him and people listen, then our work for the Master will begin. The doors of the church are open. You might be here and you don't know Jesus. If you don't know him, my brother, my sister, you're not living a quality life. You're living a poor life if you don't know Jesus. You're living a destitute life if you don't know Jesus. You're living a life beneath your means. You're living a life that could end in tragedy at any moment. There is no tragedy on earth, you know that. Because if a believer gets burned up in a fire, it's not a tragedy. If a believer gets in a car crash, it's no tragedy. If a believer gets shot in the head, it's no tragedy. The only tragedy is an unbeliever. Because if a believer leaves this earth, they're in the presence of the Lord. Paul says to live is Christ, but I'd much rather die and be with him. Do y'all hear what I'm telling you? That's what Paul said. Paul said, to live is Christ. I gotta work while I'm here, but I can't wait to get out of here. Because I'm tired of living here working and crying, working and hurting, working and being frustrated, working and being talked about, working and being ridiculed, working and stressing. I'm ready to go. You can't have that optimistic or positive outlook about death unless you have Jesus. If you don't know Jesus today, come to Jesus. You made it through yesterday, that's gone. You made it through just about through today. We don't know if you're going to make it through tomorrow. So all we're certain about is right now. And I would not question where I'll spend eternity. Come to Him. If you don't have a church home and the Lord is leading you to be part of Pleasant Grove Missionary Baptist Church, we teach and believe only the doctrine that God would give us and grant us through His holy word. Come to Jesus. Hebrews 11 suggests, forsake not the assembly together, meaning that if you don't have a church home, you got to grow, you got to connect, you got to be developed somewhere. But however you come, just come. Don't wait. It might be too late. God bless you. Come on, put your hands together. Bless the Lord. God says on the same night He was betrayed, He said, take, eat. This is my body. And He said, take, drink. This is my blood. What can wash away my sins?
Nothing but the blood of Jesus.
What can make me whole again?
Nothing but the blood of Jesus.
You ought to thank God for the blood.